Everybody, welcome again to Manatee County. It's another beautiful day. Today is Wednesday, September 11th, 2024. The Manatee Transportation Disadvantage LCB meeting is called to order. At this time, I want to start us off in prayer, and then we will say the Pledge of Allegiance. So if everybody can stand. Father, thank you, Lord, for another day, another beautiful day that you've given us here in Manatee County. Lord, we thank you, Father, for your grace, for your wisdom and your direction as you begin to show us things that you want us to do. Lord, we ask that you show us your will, and we give you glory and honor for all the victories. In Jesus' mighty name, amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Now we'll go around table for introductions and the confirmation of a quorum. Do we have a quorum? Yes, we do.
Rachel, we have a quorum, right?
Yes.
Awesome. So David, would you like to start? We'll go around.
That's right. David Machado, as you all know, fiscal manager for the MPO.
I'm Brent Gottschalk. I represent the here for the Agency for Persons with Disabilities.
Michelle Toronto, Florida Department of Transportation, Transit Administrator.
Victoria Up the Grove, Florida Department of Transportation, Transit Projects Coordinator.
Brenda Gordon, I'm here with Medicaid.
Benita Czar, Manatee County Area Transit.
Stormy Bird, Manatee County Area Transit.
Katie Shepherd, Manatee County Area Transit. Good morning, Alita Mojic with the Department of Children and Families.
I'm Madeline Spencer. I work for the Lighthouse Vision Loss Center.
Good morning, I'm Rick Wellenberger, and I'm your citizen advocate user.
Wonderful. Thank you for being here. And I'm Jason Beard. I'm one of the county commissioners here in Manatee County. So we'll now open the meeting for public comment, including comments on agenda items. On the screen, you can see 3 ways for public comment to provide input to the LCB. All comments received will be shared with committee members and made part of public record. Rachel, do we have any public comment cards at this time? Okay. Moving on to item number 4. We're going to adopt the minutes for May 15th, 2024, regular meeting and annual public workshop. I will now entertain a motion to adopt the minutes for May 15th, 2024, the regular meeting and annual public workshop. Is there a motion?
I motion.
Okay, Brett motions.
I second.
Okay, Kim seconds. Do I have any opposed? Seeing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, that vote passes unanimously. Moving on to the next item. Item number 5, presentations. Community Transportation Coordinator, CTE report, Manatee County Area Transit Quarterly Report. Julian Guzman and Katie Schaefer from MCAT. Hold on a second. Okay. Will present on this item. Awesome.
Okay, Julian is no longer with us. Stormy is the replacement, but she's new.
Okay,
So I will be doing the term.
okay.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Morning.
So, the last meeting that we had, the last quarterly meeting we had, I know a lot of you had requested, for us to kind of show the numbers for, the Longboat Key shuttle. You know, that Breeze, Sarasota County has, taken over the on-demand service. They'll probably this afternoon, when they do their report, give you the overall system. These numbers are specifically relating to what we did before in the past. So, as you can see, in comparison with last year, when we were actually doing it, there were a little bit more trips with Longboat Key in that specific area. So this is kind of what you'll see moving forward. You'll see the first thing of the difference in the numbers from last year in comparison to this year. but at least now you know the actual numeric numbers. So it was about 813 trips that they did. And the ridership from April to June. And then we did just a little over 1,200. So, okay, and unduplicated passenger head count. There was a little bit less this quarter than there were last quarter. And that's, you can see by month, the difference. There was kind of a little bit, in the month of June, but of course, June is always where kids are getting out of school. A lot of people are going on vacation and things like that. So we're get down by funding source, we have, the Port Manatee, which is, your port trips. We didn't have any in the month of April. And then it breaks it down by Americans with Disabilities. And then your transportation trips, which falls under the category of community care for the elderly, your APD trips, agencies of persons with disabilities, and then our miscellaneous trips like escorts, personal care attendants. Yes, you have a question.
Benita, I had a question about the Breeze shuttle. I was unfamiliar with that. Is this something like, that's treated like you call it to make a reservation and what if they take you out to?
So as of July, as of January, we no longer, MCAT no longer provides any of the trips on Longboat Key. So there was an agreement with Sarasota County, which is now, Breeze. They have a mobility on demand service and they've taken over that service. So any service that needs to be provided out on the island, Longboat Key, has to go through Sarasota, which is Breeze.
Okay.
And it's an on-demand service. I think Via is the provider, provides that service. And it's kind of similar to like an Uber, whatever you have to give them a call and they
So
provide.
they'll come up to gate you just like transit, right?
Correct, they provide same-day service to the Longboat Key area. And it actually goes further than that. It goes more downtown Sarasota.
Really?
So, yeah, so this afternoon you'll see, I'm sure if you're in that meeting, but this afternoon they'll give you the numbers. I actually have them. Overall, for this quarter, actually for this starting January, they've done over 3,200.
In order to use the service, do I have to re-register with Sarasota?
No, there's a phone, they have Via has an app or the Breeze has an app, it's just like an Uber app where you can call it on demand basically, you can register. And call the trip.
Okay,
I believe it's $250 for the trip.
50, okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yes, okay. And we have something similar that's coming up that we're which Chris will talk a little bit more about, the Veterans on Demand. We're kind of in the process of trying to implement that starting October.
I'm sorry, what was that?
Veterans on Demand.
Going to Bay Pines or?
No, it's gonna be, there's gonna be a service area.
Within Manatee County.
Yes.
Within Manatee County, that's good.
But we'll still have the our buses that go over to Bay Pines area.
Can I ask a clarifying question?
Yes,
If you're registered to use Handy Bus, you can be registered to also use Breeze.
yeah, well, as Chris was stating, it's an app, so basically you don't necessarily have to be registered for Breeze, it's the app, you actually would log into the app and request the service.
Okay, so it's
more
order
like
is for everybody.
It's more like an Uber type service.
Okay, I
Yes.
didn't understand that.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yeah, so if they don't have a phone or they don't know how to download the app, is there a phone number they can call?
There's a phone number to call through the Breeze.
So go on their website.
Gotcha.
And they have it on their website.
Okay, I thought it was just for people who are using paratransit. I didn't realize it was for everybody. Okay, great to know.
So Breeze has paratransit and on-demand.
Right.
They have paratransit only, and Manatee County and Sarasota County reciprocate to each other's Americans with Disabilities clients.
Okay,
But for the on-demand purpose, no, it's open to the public.
thank you.
Any other questions? Okay, this is, yeah, just the ridership, so you can see, within the quarter, we did a little over 13,000, sorry, 19,957. 13,000 was for the 88 trips, a little over 6,000 for your transportation disadvantage trips. This slide is basically, letting you know by purpose. And the request was to see veteran-wise, we wanted to see exactly how many veterans were actually utilizing the service that do qualify for ADA or TD service. So as you can see, the numbers that I have kind of in the parentheses are telling you specific by funding source, medical, dialysis, work, school, food, nutrition, life sustaining, agency types that are taking trips that are veterans specifically by service, specific purpose. There was over 1,351 trips that were taken by the veterans on the purpose type, but overall system-wise, it breaks down to the 19,957. You can see by purpose what those numbers are quarterly. So we did a little bit more. We're gradually, our ridership is going up in comparison with last year's quarter. So any questions on this particular slide? Yes.
Is that what prompted the need for the Veterans on Demand?
Our commissioners wanted to see more of, services that were out there for the veterans. So, we actually had explained to them that we are providing service for them. So they wanted to see kind of the breakdown by purpose. Because like I said, a lot of our veterans they're dual qualified. And here in Manatee County, we do have the shuttle service that kind of goes, into Pinellas, the VA hospital, and then we have here the outpatient, hospital. So a lot of them utilize the service here, but then there's other things that they're doing outside of their medical trips. And this kind of specifies what they're doing outside of the medical. Yes.
Another question, going to Bay Pines, is there any move, to have more than one bus up and one bus back?
Currently, we just have the one, and the ridership, as you can see, if you look at where it says Veterans Hospital.
Yes.
There's only 18 trips that they're doing within that quarter, those 3 months. So justifiably we'd have to have more of a ridership for that to consider something like that. But right now, there's not enough output on ridership to, kind of circumvent having another bus do that same thing. So we have just that one that goes out and the one that comes back.
I wonder, it's just a thought, but I wonder if it's kind of like the cart and the horses. Would there be more ridership if you had, as a veteran going to Bay Pines? My appointments, I always have to do late morning, early afternoon, because there's only one bus that gets there. And then invariably, when I'm done, I'm there for 4 hours waiting on the bus to come back. And I wondered if would there be any way to boost the number of trips if you actually put another bus on in addition to the one in the morning? And the one.
We've had in the past, like where we're strictly just under paratransit, where right now, it's more like a commuter service where paratransit picks up from those, from their residents and then takes them to the Palmetto Station, which takes them to Bay Pines. In the past, when we did that, we actually just had one dedicated bus but it did the same thing. It actually took them there and back, but we didn't. There wasn't enough to be able to have other services, and then being that we're, as far as the resources that we have available, we don't have enough operators to be able to accommodate a situation like that. That's why we're considering the on-demand type.
I thank you, because I've had the opportunity to have to go to Bay Pines on a number of occasions. And the service you have right now is fabulous.
Thank you.
But you gotta time Bay Pines doesn't know what you're doing, so they're just giving you appointment times. And I always have to change to match the bus schedule, so I can be sure to get home at the end of the day. But for me, any trip to Bay Pines is a 12-hour day.
Yeah,
Because we start at 7:30 in the morning, and by the time I get home at 7 o'clock at night, because you have to go downtown and wait for the next bus to show up, it could be half an hour or an hour, and then I get home.
yeah.
So I'm just wondering, and once you're there, there's nowhere else to go, you're kind of stuck. And I gotta tell you, Bay Pines campus is pretty boring, but it's just a thought, if there was a way to do it on a lift basis or you know.
Yeah, and I think at the time, what they did do is they created that Skyway connection where you're able to kind of catch some of PSTA's routes and do other things outside of your medical appointment. If you have that much time in between to, you know.
I think what I'm gonna do next time is when I'm done with my appointment, which unfortunately takes about 15 minutes, and I'm stuck till 3 in the afternoon. I'm just gonna get on one of the transit buses and go around to the end and back and see where it goes. I have no idea.
There you go.
I mean, they're there all the time, so.
There you go. Yeah,
PSCA has on-demand service too, so
They
you
do,
could probably
yeah.
use some of their on-demand service. So you wouldn't have to wait for one of their fixed route buses.
right. Yeah, that's true.
You know, they go all over the place.
No, I understand. From an expense standpoint, of course, I'm gonna wait on the bus, because they're a heck of a lot cheaper than paying $50 or $60 to get on cab and go home. But I'm just,
No, I was suggesting that if you wanted to go around the county,
Mhm.
you know, not spending your whole time on that campus, you probably use the on-demand service. I think it's $4. It's like an Uber or Lyft, just like we're suggesting for.
is that part of transit over
That's
there?
part of PSTA. You have to look on their website to see
Okay.
which one suits you, but yeah, they have all kinds of on-demand services there.
Okay, I'll take a look, thank you.
Benita, is that part, or Chris, is that part of the methodology that you guys are using to implement the
Yes.
on-demand to
Yes.
the low performing
Yeah.
routes?
It's a similar
Okay.
service, yeah.
I mean, we
Similar to what?
we did go to PSTA to learn, you know, lessons learned from them, and, you know, they had some growing pains for their own demand service, but, you know, we're gonna try to do this right, start it off the right way, and, you know, provide the service to.
Oh, believe me, I'm fully aware of growing pains with on-demand service and implementing it.
No, I think on-demand.
Personal
is a great-
experiences.
Great first step, build ridership.
Yeah, and it kind of takes the load off of some of the paratransit service, because right now, like you said, you're kind of limited to what you can do outside of your scheduled hours. Because of the available resources, we don't have enough drivers to try to accommodate all these extra trips. So by having that on demand, that's something kind of down the road that we'll look at to be able to, anything that we have as an overflow, to utilize that on demand service for that. Kim?
Would this scenario be a good, like something like the travel trainer could assist, like putting pieces together for somebody? 'Cause I wouldn't know where to start.
Yep.
Going to different websites would probably just confuse me even more, you know, but is that something?
That's part of the plan,
you do?
yes, that is part of the
great.
plan. Any other questions on this slide? All right, thank you. So this is just basically our complaints, you know, whether it's policy related or vehicle or schedule. Miscellaneous complaint, Katie receives those, you know, like, where's my ride, or they're upset about a booking or things like that, so she documents those, so. A little bit up more than last year's, but you know, we get complaints. Accommodations, we continue to get those, did really well last year, this year we're still doing well with those,
I
yes.
wanted to compliment you on your accommodations program. One of the guys that I was riding with, I wrote a letter about to you guys, and apparently they put it up on a board someplace, which I didn't realize. And I think that's fabulous. I mean, I'm hoping that you guys will continue to encourage to do that. 'Cause
We do.
boy,
We display it in the driver's room, so it's all by month, so they could see.
It's almost embarrassing, but it's great for the driver morale. I mean, holy cow.
Yeah,
I just want to say thank you.
and we do other things outside of that. We, just to recognize, you know, all the things that they do. We'll submit, you know, for employee of the month, we actually submitted 2 drivers for employee of the year, driver of the year for the conference that's coming up, for the state, so hopefully cross our fingers, you know. At least their name will show up on the panel if they don't know when, but yes, so we do recognize the good that they do. And this is our trip denials, we only had one that, and actually it wasn't really a denial, it was a refusal, and what we do is. We are trying, our scheduler, does a great job of not denying any trip. This particular one was a refusal where we can negotiate with the client. If we don't have that specific time available, we can negotiate hour before, hour after. And if they refuse what we negotiate with them, then we still have to remark it as a refusal. But actually denying them, we have not, it's been a while since we've actually denied clients on trips. No show, policy, that continues, Katie's group, they continue to kind of just monitor that. And they call them on just kind of explaining the policy so they know what a no-show policy is, late cancels, as you know, not giving the 2-hour window to prevent the driver from going there on a kind of a wasted trip. So just basically reiterating the policies to our clients and letting them know kind of, you know, it's important that they call to let us know in advance, which kind of helps productively help the system operate. On-time performance, we still keep doing well on that. Although we're short drivers, we're doing pretty well there. And then I'll hand it over to Katie for the registration portion.
All right, good morning. So this past quarter from April to June, we've held steady for the most part in our registration. May we did see a little increase. And we'll expect to see some increases as we get like the snowbirds that come back down, you know, that come and use our services during the winter months. Not seeing the board, I'm not. I'm gonna get this in. So overall, we've had 300 clients either register with us or re-register with us. We do have a 3-year recertification process for our paratransit. And then we still have one located there, but now we just have 4 Manatee shuttle users, which we only get a couple new registered. We have repeat clients that use that. So this year, like there's always a trend, people will register, apply to use our service, and they don't use it right away, for numerous reasons. Either they have Medicaid, so they have to use Medicaid for their transportation. This is like a backup ride for them in case their, you know, transportation falls through. Or we do have, you know, an out of zone barrier. So they have to be qualified under ADA or the Transportation Disadvantage Program. When we did combine our applications, we made it easier for people to qualify under both of those so that they can access all of Manatee County. However, under the Transportation Disadvantage Program, you know, we limit those trips to life sustaining, medical, and food and nutrition, things like that. So for any casual purposes, they would have to come into zone to be able to use our transportation. But not majority, but a good portion of our registered clients do end up taking trips in the months after that they register. So we do see these numbers continue to go up. And yeah, I think mine's short and sweet.
You have any questions? There's some questions.
Katie, are the applications and the rules, they're online on your website?
Yes, they are.
And that explains, the process, filling out the paperwork, and I presume you have to come in the office for training of some kind?
So we don't require any in-person assessments or trainings. Just depending on the information that's provided on application, we might bring someone in for more information or just to like get an assessment of like their functional abilities or limitations that prevent them from using our fixed route. We really try to have our service available to those who really need it, to try to, you know, to avoid abuse of our system. But I will tell you the majority of our clients are elderly with disabilities, so it's hard to justify bringing them in. But we do try, but like I think on Benita's report, you saw we did 2 assessments. just because we don't wanna create an unnecessary burden to our clients.
Well, I appreciate that. When I applied for it 10 years ago, you had to come in, I had to bring my walker, they watched me walk around the parking lot, they had to show me how I used to lift and all
Yeah.
kinds of stuff, and I just wondered if that was still a requirement.
It's not a requirement. There are some transit systems that require all clients to come, all applicants to come in, but we don't.
How do you connect them to the training piece, being that they're new, to utilize the.
For
transportation?
paratransit.
Yeah.
If they, request, a training, we can set that up. Typically, you just, a phone conversation with them. We always call them, upon approval, kind of explain how the process works, how to call, make the reservations, and what to expect. If they have any other questions, I mean, I always follow up with them. Those who want to utilize fixed route on top of that, we can set them up with our mobility coordinator.
I just wanted to give you an update on some of the projects that MCAT's working on. We talked a little bit about Veterans on Demand, that's one, and we can go into more detail if you like. Thank you to the FDOT, we're going to be expanding Route 6 with a service development grant, going from 60-minute service to 30-minute service. That's for Route 6 that serves Cortez Road from DeSoto. It'll be 30-minute service from DeSoto to Blake Hospital. I don't know if you've noticed, some of our buses have been wrapped. We'll be wrapping some more buses, some of the larger buses that go over to the VA and St. Pete. We're gonna wrap a couple of those with I don't know if you saw them, it's the American flag at Eagle, with different services on there. We've had some increase in some of the trash left at our bus stops, so we're gonna try to improve on the trash removal program at our bus stops. If you have any questions, I could try to answer some of them.
Who does it? Who does the removal?
We do it, but most of the trash at our bus stops are not from our patrons. It come from residences and businesses around those bus stops down there. So we're doing what we can. We're buying another trash removal truck and hiring more folks to service our bus stops. Questions?
I noticed you had the wrap on the best bus. Do you, I think, I don't think the county allows you to put advertising on the transits, do they? Where you actually get revenue from?
Does anyone from the DOT?
Sure. It's an interesting question. Beginning July 1st, 2024, under new legislation, we have different requirements now for wraps on publicly funded transit vehicles. And they are allowed, but they're limited. So what Manatee County is doing, and they came to the department and we've given approval for what they want to do, has to be like a county emblem or a seal or somehow related to the county for which the service is coming from. And as of right now, any agreements that any of our transit agencies have with other types of wraps, revenue generating wraps, like, I don't know, in my area, like Orlando Health or, any of those medical centers that you see our vehicles are wrapped with, a transit agency receives revenue from that, right? Those are no longer going to be allowed under the current Florida statute, but it is. But if they have a contract, the current contract, they can final out that contract, whether it's a year long or 10 years long or whatever it is. You don't have to break the contract in order to meet the statute. You just can't enter into any new ones. And again, that's current legislation. Legislation changes frequently, and so we're all just waiting to see what happens in the next session to see if they do anything differently with that.
I'm intrigued, as a revenue generator, that's not a bad idea. What's the problem? And what's the legislature not wanting to do that?
I don't really have an opinion about that. I don't understand what happened. I did not listen to what they said on the floor during legislation. I merely read the statute that came afterwards.
Does that include the bus stops too?
The bus what?
The bus stops?
Stops. The legislation only refers to vehicle wraps.
Because a lot of the bus shelters are purchased with federal funds too, the state funds. It does it in.
They're silent on language regarding bus shelters or stops.
It's really too bad. That's a real revenue generator. I mean, you guys are always looking for money. That's one way to. Okay, thanks.
You're welcome.
Any more questions? Seeing none, I'll move on to the next item. Thank you, Katie and Benita, for the presentation. We'll now move on to the FDOT report. Victoria will give this report.
Except it's not Victoria today, it's
Oh.
Michelle Peranto.
It will be.
Here with me and she'll be giving you the
All
report
right,
next time, okay?
Okay.
So again, I'm Michelle Peranto with the Florida Department of Transportation. I've come to this meeting over the last decade or so several times, but I haven't been here in a while, and I realized that today when we went to the wrong building. Wrong building. So, but we got here just fine. A brief update on the federal grant program that we host out of the state. So the federal funds come to the state of Florida. We ask our agencies, including MCAT and other nonprofit agencies in the area, to submit grants to us, and then we award those. And so in this area, the grant award that we were able to provide went to MCAT and Meals on Wheels Plus under what we call the 5310 program. So I always say the federal government's full of letters and numbers, and so that's what that is. It's 5310 is how FTA describes their grant program, and that's set aside money for elderly and disabled. Again, MCAT and Meals on Wheels Plus both receive funding under that program, and they'll be receiving that sometime between now and June. We're on a pause right now with being able to enter into those those contracts just because of processes that we have to go through. And then coming up is our grant workshop. It's that same grant workshop that gives you those federal dollars under those letters and numbers programs. And that's coming up on September 19th. Thank you, Victoria. If you're interested in those programs, whether you are MCAT, they usually attend. I think it's usually Edric.
Edric, yeah.
Or one of our social service agencies in the area, we encourage you to attend. Or if you just want to know what we're doing, come and join us. It's only a couple hours this year. It's virtual, so it's an easy get, you know. And if you want more information on that, Victoria can help you. Benita mentioned our upcoming conference. So every year we get together with the Commission for Transportation Disadvantaged. And sometimes, as is this year, we also, they are hosting a joint meeting with the Florida Public Transportation Association. So it's that joint meeting where we have all kinds of folks attend. It's a great conference. It's being hosted in West Palm Beach this year, September 22 through the 25th. And that they offer an awards program, and that's what Benita is hoping that some of her drivers will get awards at that conference. It's a really good show, and it's a really great opportunity to meet the people that you would not normally get to meet in your day's adventures of being in public transportation. The last thing I wanted to talk about is several years ago, the federal government came to Florida and asked us to start doing triennial reviews. And so that is just what it sounds like. Every 3 years, we come to our agencies who receive those, the funding for those grant programs. And we just ask a bunch of questions and see how they're doing. We kind of grade them, right? It's like a final exam, except it's every 3 years. Almost never ends. And currently we have 29 agencies that we review. So it's almost a continuous cycle. Like when we get done with those 29 agencies, we're already starting back. So it's about a 3-year process for us to get done. And it's a 3-year process for any of our agencies when they see us. Currently in this area, we have 2 that are in progress, and that's Meals on Wheels Plus of Manatee County. And I know sometimes Trisha comes to this meeting. So we just did that one, and they're, just yesterday, yeah. we've shifted, we used to be on site with them and, we're doing a lot of things virtual, making good use of our time, so that's very helpful. And then our other agency in this area that a review is in progress is, Easter Seals of Southwest Florida, again, another great organization, and another way that our public dollars are being used in your community. Upcoming reviews is Sunrise Community, and that is tomorrow. And we have not had any finalized reviews yet, but they're coming and they're soon. And with the ad of Victoria in May, we now finally, after many years of having not enough staff, Victoria completes our staffing element. And so now we are fully staffed and we're excited about that. Any questions for the department beyond vehicle wraps? No, you can still ask me that if you want. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Moving on to item number 5 is MPO staff report. David?
Shell stole my thunder. I was gonna talk about the conference, but we did that. But high level related, not related to this, the MPO obviously since June, we have to close out two different budgets. We close out our budget in our fiscal year, which ends June 30th, and we work on closing out in conjunction with Manatee County, close out their budget too, which is due September 30th. So that's taken up a lot of my time. In addition to that, the MPO in general, the planning staff has been working on closing out most of the studies that were started during the 2-year process of our last UPWP. So our congestion management plan is being brought to the board the 23rd. Our destination zero, the first step of the outcomes of the study, implementation part is being brought to the board. The final presentation for that, our active transportation plan. So numerous studies of ours are coming towards the end, and we're gearing up to start the new one out now, as you all may know. In addition to that, our long range transportation plan, that's ongoing, and it's a process that'll go on through the end of October next year, Rachel. So that's a long one. That all basically incorporates, that's our 2055, so that incorporates all the growth and everything that entails that through 2055, so planning that 2050, yeah. I see 5 more, I'm already over there. I'm retiring already then, hopefully. Pretty much that's it. Just high level things. If you have any questions regarding any of the stuff I just blabbered out, I'm happy to try to answer.
Any questions? Okay, seeing none, we'll move on to item number 6, which is once around the table. We'll start with Brett.
Something exciting, especially for Manatee County, was one of the counties selected for a pilot program through our agency. It's a managed care pilot. We're just in the implementation status of it, so we're hoping to get it around starting October 1st. Interest letters went out 2 weeks ago, and we're getting those in. It's gonna be a first come, first serve. It's gonna be for individuals over the age of 22. Basically how it's been described to us, it's gonna be sort of a wrap of the long-term care waiver and APD services. So an individual on that will have like their medical care and APD waiver services, so that home and community-based services. So these are specifically gonna be triple earmarked who are on the wait list. So it's gonna be a good way to get some folks in this county off the wait list and getting services. While it is just a pilot program, one of the things that we have been told that regardless if it gets picked up or not, any person who chooses and is interested and is selected into the pilot will remain getting services then thereafter. So it's a great way that we were gracious enough to get money through legislature this year to move some of the folks from the wait list even into these pilot programs. So we're excited. Anytime we can get people services who are waiting is a win for us. And it's exciting, Manatee County was selected, Hillsborough and Manatee were selected from our region, so. Starting October 1st, as it goes. We'll get some people some more services and probably in November have an update of how that's going and how it's getting rolled out. So we're just in the infancy stages. More to come.
Awesome.
We don't have anything else.
Okay. Kim?
Career Source Suncoast is still around serving Manatee and Sarasota County, serving veterans, people with disabilities, youth, non-custodial parents who are behind on their child support. Gosh, we have a host of grants that assisting people with retraining, and really our main focus, whatever we do, is to get people into the workforce with good jobs so they can be self-sufficient and successful. I'm with the Ticket to Work program, so my clientele are strictly people with disabilities who are receiving SSI or SSDI, who have the desire to return to work. Omar Ruiz, he attended, I think, last meeting with me. He's been added to our program. He's a veteran also, so I feel like we make a pretty good duo to get people back to work.
Thank you for having me here. This is my first meeting with you all. My background is patient experience process improvement, and I work on the provider enrollment side with Medicaid. So increasing access to care, I feel glad to be here with you all doing the same thing. Patients.
I've said enough.
No updates here.
I don't have any updates either.
I have a couple. The lighthouse has a new logo, and I mentioned that we dropped the education piece out of our name. I think it was maybe skewing people, they didn't understand what we do. So we are Lighthouse Vision Loss Center. Check us out. Check out our Facebook for our new logo. They worked really hard on it to make sure that people understood what we do. But another thing that I want to let Manatee County know is that I have an alumni group. We call them the ambassadors, and they're doing sort of a community education presentation. We're starting with the Braden River Library as our first run to share about what it is like to live with vision loss in our community. And what do we call it? Vision After Vision Loss, I think is our title. And we have our first presentation, but if you're an organization in our community and you're interested in a little bit of that sort of grassroots education piece, we'd love to coordinate a presentation.
Is that presentation?
Well, it's for the Braden River Library, like employees, it's their first run. So once it's done, once we've done it once, then we will
open it up.
Have it more open, yeah. And I think the idea was to really go into organizations and community fixtures and do a presentation for their employees. Instead of sort of like publicly for all public. So it will be sort of specifically catered to that organization. But we'd love more organizations to line up.
I think I got an email though. Don't you all have a new program with equipment?
Oh, excuse me. Yes, I should have shared about that. There's a lot that's happening. We have a new technology, what do you want to call it? Endeavor. It's called Technology Solutions, and it is going to directly fund services. It is provided for clients and anyone, and clients receive a sliding scale of costs. I don't know what the costs are for the public, but anything that is anyone who uses that service, it funds the lighthouse directly. So if you have issues with your technology, please consider Technology Solutions. They also have a few job openings at the lighthouse.
I just want to tell you, I took this job as citizen advocate user. I've been using paratransit service since 2008. I don't drive anymore. So paratransit service is like the only way I get around. And the services have gotten unbelievably better since I started. Remember some of the horror stories from the early days. So I like coming here because I kind of keep an eye on how we're doing and what's going on. And the service is just, it's getting better every day. And I just want to say thanks. Appreciate being your citizen advocate.
Well, thanks for coming up here, Rick, and giving us
for the input on the services. We really appreciate that. We have a great team. So, David?
I don't think I have anything else other than we're gonna be at the conference. Me and Rachel will be there, so we look forward to seeing whoever's there.
Okay, so thank you everybody for attending. The next LCB meeting will be held on November 6th, 2024 at 10 a.m. This meeting is now adjourned.